and welcome. My name is Del Rey, and today we're speaking about NFT and gaming with the people from Kelepar. These guys been building for a while already. They will launch on Juno Network. Stay tuned for more.
And we are live again. Look, Gino, thank you so much for joining again, buddy. Hope you're fine and holding on during all this that's happening in the market. Again, thank you for joining the Staking podcast.
Yeah, man, thank you so much for having me. Doing well, like just trying to disconnect from the markets, not think about it too much and focus on building and working and doing our stuff because better times will come. So dealing fine with it. And thank you so much again for having me. It's a huge pleasure to be here.
Totally, man, totally. It's a crazy time in the market, but it's like they say, builders gonna build.
Exactly.
And I'm very happy to connect with you. You're building this connection collection, which is what this episode is about. We're going to talk about Kelepar, which is an upcoming NFT RPG game. We're going to get into more details as we speak. But before that, Lucasino, I don't know, please briefly go over yourself and how you got into this crypto stuff and maybe a little bit about your background.
All right. So, yeah, where should I start? I guess I come from the finance world. I studied finance. Never really enjoyed it too much, so I looked for something different. I did a lot of sports. I was like competing and coaching people and stuff in CrossFit. And then eventually I found my way into crypto. So that's kind of how I got into crypto. And yeah, I got to know Cryptocito and the Friends team and stuff in Lisbon as they all moved to Lisbon, and they got me into Cosmos. So that's how I got into it. Then Cosmoverse One happened in Lisbon, and as a local there, I kind of helped them out a little bit, and not like part of the co-organizing team, but just helping out some friends in getting this conference started. And that's where a lot for me really changed, because up until then I was just buying and selling, just trading. Um, and when I was at Cosmoverse and I got to meet all the founders and the builders in the ecosystem, and I got to talk to them and hear their visions, it was like, man, it's amazing. Those people, they actually want to change something. They actually want to achieve something. And all I'm doing here is trying to make money for myself. That's so egoistic. And it's technically very, or I even before felt it's not very satisfying, but it was working at that time for me. And I was like, so I need to do something that's more satisfying again, like when I did the fitness stuff and the coaching and helping people with their health, um, I had something that I felt like I was doing good in the world. And then as I got into crypto and just did full-time crypto, I kind of lost that. And I was like, I need to get that back. And then I decided I want to get started with my own project. But I didn't know what at that time yet. Took a couple months later. Um, I had like my gaming background, right? So used to play a lot of games when I was younger, especially as I was studying. And when I learned that NFTs are a bit more than just JPEGs, I was like, man, this can do a lot in gaming, and it's so sad that we fuck this up, and make these terrible Ponzi play to earn games that the whole gaming community hates, instead of actually using the tech to make games better. And that was shortly after Cosmoverse, as I started to rant a lot about this. And I was like, this is not possible, like there's so much possibilities. We can do so much better as a community. And I was like, you wanted to build something and you recognize a problem and you have a solution for that problem. So, well, that's the thing you should be building. So I was like, okay, let's try to put this together somehow. But as someone who graduated in finance, I obviously couldn't build myself. That's where my co-founder comes in. Funnily enough, and I think it's just because the stars aligned and it had to happen that way. He's a software engineer. He had some experiences with smart contracts and stuff, but was working mainly in Web 2. And I was like, I'm tired of this. I'm tired of working for some big ass company programming stuff. I want to have my own startup. I want to build something in Web3, but I don't really know what. And he told me that when I was back in Switzerland for Christmas. He's like a very old friend of mine. We grew up together there. And so I asked him like, hey, let's do that. Like I have an idea, a vision here, and you have the skill, and if we come together, and he was super on board with the vision, and he was like, yeah, you're so right about the whole gaming thing. Let's do this, and that's how we founded Kelepar. And yeah, we have been working on that. We started working on it late Q1, I would say, this year. So we have been working on it for almost three-fourths of a year now. So a lot of work has been getting into it already in the background. We've been building this up, and that's where we are today. So yeah, that's a little bit the story of me, and I guess also the story of Kelepar.
I find it really cool that by the same time you were asking for some skill, this guy comes into your life with the skill that you're looking for, and it's like a perfect match for you. Really cool, man. And can you go over what is Kelepar game about? Feel free to expand on this because that's the main thing, right?
Um, so Kelepar is a turn-based strategy RPG. I think the closest thing to that, something you might know, is Final Fantasy. So the way the battle system works is you have a group of characters, we call it heroes, a group of heroes that you control. And then in the beginning of the turn, you choose your abilities, and your opponent is doing the same at the same time. And then in the second phase of the turn, the whole thing runs down. And what this does is it really focuses on the strategy and the tactics within the game. So you have to choose, do I want to have a quick ability that can strike quickly but maybe does a little bit less damage? Or do I want to have a slower one that does a lot of damage? But if I take the slower one, can I protect that character that will do the slow attack with my other characters? Can I block incoming attacks so he can do it in peace? And the opponent might think, I think this guy might be has a very powerful but slow attack, so I need to interrupt it a little bit. What can I do to interrupt it? And then you have like each character, the different classes, they have strengths and weaknesses where they might do more or less damage. So the whole thing, the whole battle really focuses around thinking, what is the best strategy? What is the best course of action in this very turn? That's basically the gameplay. Now, where we go different to what you might know from Final Fantasy and also a lot of the AAA games in general is that we're using a card game engine for the battles instead of the 3D animated one. And the reason for that is pretty simple. Like, if you want to have high quality, the AAA standard that we are used to from games for 3D animations, you need a huge team and a lot of finances to get there, right? Like if you think GTA costs more than 200 millions to develop, and as a startup, you simply don't have that money. So you need to come up with a solution that is a little bit outside of the box, right? And the card game engine, it really doesn't take anything away from the core gameplay elements, which is the strategy and the tactics within the battle, because it's turn-based, so you don't need in real time seeing how the attack is coming in, so you might be able to block it or whatever, right? It's all programmed anyway. So with that way, we can keep the core elements of the game there in the exact same quality, but make it a lot easier for us to produce it and make it possible to produce it with a lot less funding. And the same kind of holds true for the way we tell the PvE story, right? Instead of these super expensive CGI trailers that you can see in the AAA games, we focus on what we're really good at, and that's our art, right? So we're going to have beautiful illustrations, beautiful artwork. We're going to slightly animate them so they're not super stale. But the main focus on the storytelling is with the artworks. We're going to have text during the conversation. You choose the answers that you want to give, the options that you want to take. You make your own decisions within the game and influence the world with that. So the focus there is going to be on the storytelling, on the artworks, and really also present that in a way that can look very, very good, but still doesn't break the bank in developing it. Um, and what we end up with is probably a product that is a little bit more niche, right? It's for people that love the old school RPGs, that love a game that has beautiful art, that has like a deep and touching story with meaningful decisions, for people that enjoy the strategy aspect of battles instead of like crazy animations and graphics. So it's a little bit more niche, I would say, but within that niche, we can provide an amazing product. And we think that's a much better strategy than going down, trying to build something that talks to everyone. But because we don't have the finances, end up with a subpar product, which is what you see with a lot of those GameFi projects, right? They just look like 10-year-old games. We're like, we don't want to do that. We want to have something that's amazing, at least within our target audience. They think like this is fucking amazing. And that's what we're building.
Got it, man, and thanks for sharing. I must say the art looks really cool. Anybody that sees the Kelepar characters, they will notice right away how pretty they look. To be honest, uh, I was able to see that you're gonna come up with two collections. One is Kelepar Heroes, and the other one is like Kelepar OGs, if I'm not mistaken. Can you briefly go over those?
Yeah, sure. So the heroes are the characters that are playable. At the moment, it's 34. We might add another one or two until the game release. So, similar to how you know from Web 2 gaming, there is not an unlimited amount of characters because that would be impossible to balance. It would be impossible to give like an exciting PvP experience if there is, yeah, an unlimited amount of characters or 10,000 different characters, right? You just cannot balance it. So we went down the Web 2 route and be like, let's make a limited amount of characters that people can actually play with. The NFT tag will still be used for them, but not because they look unique, but you make them unique as you play. By using NFT technology, we can allow players to store the progress that they achieve with a certain character on the blockchain and make it tradable. So if you play the game, your character will level up, it will become stronger. You will get special skins as you get a certain amount of wins. You'll get titles and all that stuff. And then you can sell that on when it's on max level. And obviously, it's going to have a higher value than it had when you bought it at level 0. So this is how you can um, capture the monetary value of the time that you spend on the game, and someone else, another player that might not have the time to level up those characters, but wants to be competitive in PvP, wants to play at the highest levels, and therefore needs max level characters. He can save the time and just buy it off of you, right? So that's kind of the economic idea why we use NFT tech within the game that we have. But the characters will not look unique or anything like that. And then we have the OG collection, which is the one we're going to mint out next week. And this one is going to be, each of them is going to be unique. They are generative art. So there are a couple traits, the way you know it from all the NFT collectibles. But I would still say they are super, super unique because we have a lot of traits, right? We're going to have 1,800 NFTs. And they're split into 3 races, and each of those 3 races has a male and female gender, right? So that means it's 6 sub collections, 300 NFT for each sub collection, and all of them together will make up the 1,800 collection. And we have almost 1,000 different traits for 1,800 collection. So you can imagine how many combinations are possible and how unique those NFTs will still look. And this collection will grant people a variety of different use cases leading up to the launch of the game. So you are going to get access to the beta. You can play with all the characters during the beta, test all of them, see which is fun. Also help us with the balancing, obviously. They will be implemented when the game launches in customization ways. So you can use them as profile picture. You can put them as on banners to present them to your opponent. You can use them as mascots or companions. There is a way to integrate them within the game, but they're not a core piece of the game and not super necessary to play. It's more like there are a variety of ways how you can show your opponents, hey, I'm an OG, I'm in this project since it started, and it's this very unique piece of art that you will never be able to get again. And then as a little goodie, um, when the game starts, we want to make sure that everyone who has been holding our NFTs leading up to the mint, who has been part of the community, has been supporting us by holding those NFTs, will get rewarded as the game launches. And we're going to give a special present to the NFT holders when it starts. But
Awesome.
for legal reasons, I cannot say what it exactly is.
It's all right. It's all right. I'm sure the listeners will get the alpha anyway. Thanks for sharing, man. And real quickly, you said the mint is coming up really soon. Let's say I mint one or two Kelepar characters, right? Will I be able to play right away, or the game is coming up later in the year?
So at the moment, we are about to finish the alpha version of the game. So there should be a playable version very soon, but that will be first for internal testing. The beta, we want to create a little bit more design work. We want to create a little bit more animations because at the moment it looks very there's just not so much design work being done yet. Let's put it like that. We have been focusing on building the mechanics of the game first, being able to test the game, see if it's fun. And now that we know that, it's time to add in more design work. So this is going to be it's going to take a couple more months, I would say, until the beta is live. But we hope we can give everyone access to the game, or everyone that holds an NFT access to the beta of the game, which will be fully off chain end of Q1 next year. So that's a couple more months. But it's very hard to promise that because we don't know what we will encounter and what bugs might come up in the internal testing, because it should be relatively bug free and fun to play if we make it available for people, right, to test and have fun on the game. And then so it's very hard to say when exactly. Our goal is end of Q1 next year having the beta out, but we can promise it. Maybe it's going to be Q2 as well.
Okay, fair enough. And it's good to hear that at least you guys plan to getting the community involved in the creation process. I believe, right?
Yeah, I think that's the beauty of NFTs, right? Um, if you think about Web2 gaming, it was just like there was the team and they created the game and there was not so much community interaction, right? And with NFTs, we can kind of sell people an access ticket to the whole development process, to the community, get them to play the beta, hopefully have them giving us great feedback that we can then use to change certain aspects of the game, to change the balance, make sure that it's fun to play, that it's well balanced in PvP, and to just have them around the entire time and observing the development process and jumping in whenever they can. And yeah, I think that's the beauty of NFTs, right? You can build a beautiful community around any product. And if you're an indie gaming company like we are, I think there is a lot of value in having that community around. So we're super pumped for that.
Back to the community topic in a few. First, I want to ask you on the mint itself, if you can share some details on the mint, like the date, the minting price, and what else in regards to the mint.
Yeah, of course. So the mint will be 24th for whitelist and 25th for public mint. The price will be around $40 up to $45, depending on where the Atom price lies, because you will have to pay the mint in Atom. Obviously, Atom is a volatile asset, and we want to have like a nice number, like we want to have 4.4 atom public and 4 atom whitelist or something like that. So it will fall somewhere in this around $40 range. Maybe it's slightly more, maybe it's even slightly less. But we will define, we haven't defined the full atom value yet. I think we'll have to do that tomorrow or the day after, give it through, and then it's locked in. And then let's hope the market's not too volatile in the last couple of days leading up to the mint. But it will be around $40 to $45, 24th, 25th, and it's going to be on the launch pad of Loop. So you need the funds on Juno.
Got it. Okay. So to being able to use the loop, you need some Juno, but the minting price is gonna be paid in Atom, right?
Exactly. The reason is
Okay, I
simple,
got
that
it.
we think Atom is the most liquid asset in Cosmos. It's like what every cosmonaut has. So we thought it's the easiest. That's the thought process.
All right. Fair enough. And quick question. Because people, sometimes you see something new around the block, people get hyped, people get excited, everybody wants to try it out, but then the hype fades away, right? And I wanted, yeah, it's sad but true. So I wanted to ask you if you have any initiatives to keep the people engaged with your game after you launch.
Um, are we talking about after we launched the full version or after we launched the NFT collection leading up to the game?
Well, you can answer the both, leading to the game and after the game.
All right. I mean, so leading up to the game, um, we definitely want to keep the community activities active. So if you have been in our Discord, there is weekly quizzes, there are games we play, and we also make sure that the community always have the possibility to win some Juno as they're playing with us. So this we will keep up, right? To just have a fun community to hang out with. At the same time, we're sharing the progress of our building. There will be an alpha version that should be playable for the Discord OGs. So the first test will be a very, very limited group. And then we're going to get into the beta. So we have those different stages where people can see more and more of the game, and more people can get involved within the game. And obviously, everyone can still earn the OG role. We give away every couple of weeks, we give some away to the people that have been actively contributing to the Discord community, that have been playing with us, that answer questions, and just people that provide value to the community. They will become OGs. So those are the steps leading up to the game, right? And then as we get very close to the mint, we're going to start ramping up the marketing more in the gaming communities. Over Twitch, working with Twitch streamer. I want to create my own Twitch stream as well, where we might be able to show the game or play the game with people that have that hold NFTs and are in the beta, and just show it to the people, bring it out into the gaming community to get those in. And obviously there will be a lot of trailers and stuff coming in that time as well. That I think it's important leading up to the mint that we can keep showing people, look, we're making progress. It's getting closer, closer, and closer. And at the same time, have them involved with games, with streaming, with the Discord. Just have people around and interact with them. That's basically the strategy leading up to the mint. And give them,
That's very
obviously, the
important.
possibilities to play, to get their hands on the game if they're part of the community. And
That's
then
really cool.
and then after the game, to keep the hype up, or I don't like word hype there because like you cannot keep hype up ever, right? But what you
Right.
can keep up is the interest in the game, and you just have to prevent the game from getting boring. And the way you do that is expansion packs. So after a couple of months, when everyone has played through the campaign, through the story mode, there will be the next elements of the story. And I think there's something really cool that, as a side note, I might say here, is when you play through the story and you make your decisions certain deciding point, you'll have to make a transaction to save or store your decision on the blockchain. And that will work like a governance voting, in the sense of after like 2 3 months, whatever it is that this expansion was running, we take that decision, and it's going to influence the next parts of the story, because then we know the majority of the community decided to kill that guy, or they decided to be merciful and let him be alive. And if he was being given mercy, he'll come back in the next story. But if he was killed, then he's dead, right? So you can actively, by playing, influence how the story will continue in the next expansion packs. So this is one thing, and obviously with each expansion pack, people also get new characters that they can play with. And this should shake up the PvP meta. It should allow for new strategies. It will shake up old strategies that you have been using, and suddenly it might not be that good anymore because one of the new characters is very good at countering it. So just to keep the game interesting, like in traditional gaming, it will get continuously new content that keeps it fun and interesting to play.
Yes. Oh yes, man. I bet. No doubt on that. And thanks for sharing those insight. I got some weird question on my mind now. I don't know if you have been involved in these kind of projects before, but if you could expand on your experience, like building a game, any thoughts or realizations you had during the process that you want to share?
Um, you mean now specifically as we were building, or that I have been observing in the game play to earn gaming industry that caused us to do certain things the way we do it?
I was referring exactly as your experience building this game.
So as we were building this out, I think the biggest realization that we had was with the economic models and how you frame them. So in the beginning, we were still like a lot of like allowing people to earn real world value, and having a focus on the token rewards. And I mean, I knew that play to earn in the current form that he had wasn't sustainable. But the more I got into the economics of it and the finances within that economy, I realized is actually, if you focus on a token, it's completely impossible, because it's just not possible that everyone earns, right? Someone has to spend the money that others earn. So our focus got a lot more on making the player to player economy work. And so this is the whole thing, that you can take your heroes, you play them, and they become more valuable, and you sell them on to someone that doesn't want to spend the time. And this is kind of then, some players will earn, right? The ones that sell characters, they spend time on the game, they grind and sell to other players that don't have the time. And then you can see it as it's like providing a service to some players. And the more we got into it, the more ideas we started to unlock, to get on, to develop and to implement, of how this can be achieved, how players can provide services to other players within that gaming economy, within that gaming, don't want to call it metaverse, but within that gaming universe that we create, right? And I think this is something, the more I dove into it, the more I understood it, and the more clarity I became about it. And I've been writing a lot of articles about it as well. So I think during the process of developing this game, I've learned a lot about gaming economies, making them sustainable, and how it can be done actually, and what makes sense and what doesn't. And I didn't have such a great understanding when we started it. I had a basic idea, but a lot of the things that I in the beginning thought would be possible turned out to be impossible, and we just had to dive deeper and be creative with that. And yeah, I think that's the biggest technical learning that we had. And then there's obviously a bunch of managerial and marketing mistakes that we made on the way. I mean, it's the first time that I created a startup, have my own employees, so there have been some internal things that I could have been done better, obviously, and that we learned from doing
Totally.
this.
It's just part of the game, right?
Yeah, of course.
And I'm sure you still have a very long way to go. Looking forward to see how your career develops in the ecosystem, man. Uh, I don't know. I'm about to wrap this up. This conversation has been so good. I'm pretty sure the audience would get the value out of it. I don't know, something you want to share right now that maybe we didn't cover before?
No, the questions have been super in depth. I love the questions. So you did great research, asked great questions. So I really enjoyed this. I think I got the chance to share everything that has to be shared. That is somewhat important about our project, our vision. So yeah, I love the talk and the questions that you asked, and I don't think I need to add anything.
Thanks, man. I'm happy you feel that way. We definitely got to arrange a Twitter Spaces so we can have more time to go even deeper on this. Okay.
Yeah, I'd
And
love that.
well,
Love that. I love that. And also give your community the chance to ask questions because maybe if they listen that, some questions might come up and they would like to ask them. So if we can make that happen, I'm absolutely down. I love to talk to the
down.
community and share information, be as transparent as possible. Like there is nothing I wouldn't answer, like any questions, everything. So yeah, I would love to do that.
Awesome, man. And where can people find you and know more about your project? That's the last
Uh,
question from me.
I think the best place to start is the Twitter account where we post all the major announcements. That's Kelepar Game on Twitter. And if you join that, you'll find the invite link to the Discord. And I would also recommend joining the Discord, being part of the community. As I said, we have a lot of fun talks. We have games, we have quizzes. There's always activity in there, and that's also the easiest place to ask questions because um, the entire core team is active in there. So if you have a question, there will be someone of us around in a reasonable time frame to answer the questions. It's very important to us to be there for you guys and just make sure that everything is clear. So yeah, if you have any questions, head over to the Discord. And if you want to read, if you like reading, check our Medium page. There is a lot of articles generally about our views on the gaming economies, how we use NFTs, and you can also find the entire stories, the lore that we have been writing about the game. So that's also a nice place. I'd say Twitter, get started there, join the Discord, and if you want to read and get dive deeper, check out Medium.
And that was all for today's episode. I hope you found it as valuable as I did. I definitely learned a lot more about NFTs listening to these guys. Good luck in their mint. Remember to follow Stakin on Twitter and join our Discord and Telegram for more. Until next time.